Hello, everybody. This is Chris from Chris Design Co. I'm going to show a couple different ways a model would look when I build a model versus using Easy Create or any of the other um, AI model creators like in carveco. Um, I use a couple of other programs, um, and you do have to pay for them. They are more expensive, but this is kind of what I do, and I've learned um, some pros and cons of using each one. Sometimes the Easy Create does does real well, and sometimes carveco's does real well. But I find when I do a side to side comparison after I've done everything that I know, um, that I can create a much higher quality model with my method. My method is sometimes I use AI and a depth map and create some type of a model with that. And then I may even use parts of that, and I may then use Vectric's Aspire and create my own components, which when you create your own component with Aspire, they are undoubtedly way cleaner, crisper, and precise than you can get with a depth map. Um, and so I'll show you what I do, and or at least what I produce differently. So the first thing I want to do is I did this United States of America 250th anniversary coin model, and I brought in the image to Easy Create and used their Easy Create AI model maker. And this is the model that I was able to come up with, um, and make it as good looking as I could possibly make it. But there's, again, a lot of things that are great about this, but there are a lot of things that are lacking. And sometimes, if you don't have Aspire, you can't do much of anything else with this model. So the model itself comes in. The eagle, the Statue of Liberty, and the Liberty Bell look really pretty nice. They look pretty good. They're not as pronounced. They're a little flatter. The bell looks good, but when you look at the letters and the numbers and the base, and things get sunken in here. As you can see, they sink in. The letters sink in. They don't really look great. They won't carve real good. It's hard to get these letters to stand out appropriately, and the reason for that is because the picture that you use sometimes develops a shadow, and then the Easy Create wants to use that shadow, and it's dark, so it sinks it in a little bit. So that's, again, it's not bad. And if you don't have Aspire and you do the Easy Create, you've just made yourself a nice model, and you can use it and you can carve it, and it'll look great. So that's this one. So when I go to mine, sorry, wrong one. Now you can see there's quite a difference. Now, a lot of this is because I've created my own components, but I've taken parts of the Statue of Liberty and I've made separate models of the Statue of Liberty, the Eagle, and the Liberty Bell. And of course, I use Vectric, and I create this entire piece right here. And I use a two-rail sweep, and create a border, a nice angle piece here. And the letters I create separately and then bring them in as components. And as you can see, they're sitting flat. I even use a little draft so they carve real clean. And then as you see, the eagle looks like it's its own piece. It's sitting right on top. And same way with the Lady Liberty here. And I also did two different models. And this one here, Lady Liberty, is kind of sloping in and blending into the coin, and the letters are standing proud. So I have this one, but then if I also look at this one, I did it a little differently. The bell is a little smaller. The Lady Liberty is sitting proud, and it's just sitting on top. It's a full model, and it's sitting here. It's not necessarily bad. It depends on what you like. If you like it this way, or what I did is I made it bigger and then I blended it in. The eagle also is slightly bigger, but again, the letters are all the same, and you can control how high these letters are, so they carve better. So that's where I did that. So in order to do that, as you see, each one of these is a separate model. If I can actually show you my component tree. There's all different components. So I can turn this eagle right off. Okay, so if I turn this off, the Statue of Liberty and the Liberty Bell, now this is what I've created with the components just with Aspire. It's very clean. It'll carve beautifully. And then I just added the pieces that I created separately and brought them in as clip art. So that's the way this would work. So that's how I do this. And as you can see, there's huge difference. Now, in order for me to get the Statue of Liberty, I had to do a couple different things. So this is my own rendition of Statue of Liberty. It's not the same one that Easy Create made. As you notice, here's the book and the hand holding it. Now, if I go back to Easy Create, here's the hand, here's the book. It's not really clean. It's not really clear. It's like, okay, I can imagine it being the hand in the book, but it's really not. And if you look at this hand also, it's not really, you don't have really good fingers and holding the torch. But the one that I made, totally different. You've got nice fingers holding the torch, and you have hands holding the book. So this Statue of Liberty is different. It's not the same one. It's very similar. Same way with the eagle and same way with the Liberty Bell. I manipulated them all in pictures and with my own programs made these separate components. And I actually have these components as clip art. So they're 3D clip art. And because I have Aspire, I make them and I add them to my clip art library. So now if I want to add another one, I can just use the clip art library. So this is how I do things. So if I turn this off, I'm going to show you, I'm going to turn everything off here. Now I'm going to open a new session. And these are the two. So you can see there's that one, which has the Lady Liberty standing proud. And then you have this one where she's blended in. So I have two renditions that can be used. Basically, they're the same ones, just slightly different with Lady Liberty. And I'm going to show you how I built these. So we're going to start here. And what I did is I ended up drawing vectors. So what I will show you is the original vectors that I drew. So here's all the vectors. So I drew, because you want to get as little nodes as possible. If you look at these and I go to node, you'll only have 1, 2, 3, 4 nodes. It's these are circles. So it's not lots and lots of circles. So it's going to create a very nice clean model. The letters and the numbers are text letters. So they're very clean. And so what I do is what I did is if I turn these off, I'm just going to show you real quick on what I do. So I go in and I make a circle. Now the sizes are probably not going to be the same because I'm drawing them real quick just to show you. So I have 2 circles, and I'm going to do one more. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to steal that I used in my clip art. I used a molding profile, and I used this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my 2 rails. And I'm going to select those, make sure the arrows are going in the same direction. And I am going to I'm not going to fill the center, or I'm sorry, I'm going to fill the center, so I'm going to fill this whole center in. If I just wanted it just to stay within these 2 vectors here, you would select scale selection with the width. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to fill it. So I'm going to hit that, and I'm going to select the height. Sorry. And I need to select my profile and hit, whoops, sorry. So you got to hit these 2 here, select it, hold shift down, hold that, and hit apply. Now as you can see, I've got my model. So I'm going to bring it up. I'm just going to bring the base up for now. So there's my base. There's my coin base. I like that. So that's pretty good. So now I have this made. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring in some letters and some circles. So what I did was I took another circle and I wanted my letters in here. So I'm going to put that there. And then I'm going to type in United States of America. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to go to node editing and I'm going to cut this vector. Now I'm going to try to keep it the same. So I'm going to use this, my line here. And then I'm going to go over here and cut the vector here. So now what I'm going to do, get out of node editing. I'm going to highlight my words. I'm going to select my line. And I'm going to use, it says text is too long to fit. You just say okay, and it's going to fit it. Now, I'm going to set it in the middle of it, and it sits pretty good. It's fitting just fine the way I like it. Now, the other thing I do, I need to check. If you notice, see here, they're too close. So what I do is I make sure that I'm still in text mode, and I see that little plus sign. So I'm going to hold shift down and hit my left mouse button, and it's going to move it out a little bit. And I did it twice, so I'm going to check this one. I move that one, move this twice. So I'm going to look at the rest of them. They all are fitting pretty good now. They're not going to be butting up on each other when they become models. They look pretty good here. So I'm good with that. I'm happy with that. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the 250 anniversary. So what I do is I'll type in 250, and it's actually TH. So I'm going to and I want to make it a little smaller. So let's just do TH. 150th anniversary. Sorry, here. So now I've got my 250th anniversary here. So what I'm going to also do is I need to put it on behind underneath. So I'm going to also go into node editing, and I'm going to select cut vector here, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring my cursor down, and I'll cut this also here. So now I've got that vector cut, and then what I do is I highlight, get out of node editing, take my letters, put it into here, and set it inside. And I'm going to put it in the middle. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to close that. Now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to bring these closer, the TH. And then I'm going to spread the anniversary out a little bit. This is all what you want it to look like. This is the way I did it here quickly. And then, so now what I do is you can create the letters. This is how I do it. I'm going to create them. I'm going to make them 0.25 inches high. And now when you look at them, there they are. They're 0.25 inches high. For now, we can make them 0.35 for now. So we're going to keep them looking like that. Now, what I have found is when you're making texts and when you're carving them, if you leave them with a straight line, with a straight back, tapered ball nose bits sometimes have a harder time with that. And sometimes you get these little jagged looks carved in them. So what I do is I give my letters a draft. I always give my letters with the draft. So what I do is I turn off my first component. It's very important to remember. You got to turn everything off when you're doing draft. You can only have what you want to draft on. Otherwise, everything gets drafted. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to create a draft. I'm going to use 8%. Now watch what happens. We're going to get closer in, apply, boom. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the original, and this is the drafted model, and I'm going to smoothen it. I'm going to do a global smoothening, just a little bit. Looks nice. It's going to be beautifully, it's going to carve nicely. I bake it, close it, and then I turn my base back on, and I turn this back to add. So now they're sitting up, and they are nice and clean, and there's no jaggedness in them. They will carve beautifully. So there's that part of it. Now, because the other things are you need the dates. So we're going to do some dates. We're going to type in 1776. And you're also going to do 2026. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some lines let's just see here. So this is the size of the letter. You can move them over here if you'd like. If that's the size you like, that's great. I think they're fine because they're typed the same size. And just move them over to where you want them. What I do sometimes is I will take if I grab the center and drag it right to hold to next to that. And then when I do the same thing, I take the same one and I drag it over. Now I know that it's too close to this edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one and I'm going to move it relative or absolute. And I'm going to move it the X position. I'm going to make zeros. We're going to move this, let's say 0.1. And let's just see what happens. Oh, we did it the wrong way. Sorry. Relative. So let's do 0.01 or 0.1. That's not enough. So let's go 0.3. All right, I like that. So now I know if I take this one and move it relative negative 0.3, watch, it'll move where we want it. So now we've got these in perfect position, at least for what I like. Now we can do the same thing. We can make these, and then we're going to make them 0.35. So now I know for a fact that they're the same size as my letters. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn everything off except for the numbers, and I'm going to give them a draft, which is 8%. As you can see, it changes it a little bit. I turn off the original, and then I'm going to smoothen it just a little bit. I'm going to hit close. Now I'm also going to make that an add. Now, if I had a lot of time, I'd be naming all of this. But right now, I know what we have. So now I know I have my letters and my numbers and my base. Crisp and clean. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take the clip art, which I already have, and I'm going to bring them in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my clip art. See, now I even made the letters, said 1776, and even letters. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for my Liberty Bell. And I'm going to look for my eagle head. Guess you should have done that first. And I'm also going to find the Statue of Liberty. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these, just kind of move them around a little bit. I know the eagle has to go up top. And I know Lady Liberty, the bell's going to go over here. So now what I do is I have my models. So now I'm going to start sizing them a little bit. So this is where you can have some creativity. How do you want them to be? And because they're their own components, then you can change them and merge them. And then you just bring them in so they're sitting kind of on top. So now you see there's still a problem here. It's not really merging. And that's because if you look at your component tree, it's below the Statue of Liberty. So you need to bring that above the Statue of Liberty. Now, as you see, it's merging correctly. So now you just put it however you want. So that's there. Maybe she's a little too big. So let's bring her down just a little bit more. So there you go. That's my rendition real quick. It can go down a little bit more, whichever you would like. Maybe it's still a little too high. And there you go. So now you've got your model. So now if you want to change things with Aspire, there's different ways of doing that. So like if I want to do this, so I'm going to just duplicate this. And I'm going to turn off the first one. And I've got her here. And now I'm going to make her a little bigger. I like her right there. And also what's going to happen is she's going to be merge. We're going to change her to merge. And then we can bring her back in. As you can see now, she sits on top of the bell. And she's also sitting above and top of the eagle. So that's your decision. But here's a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fade it. So let's see what happens when I fade. So I'm going to start and I'm going to do from all the way up top. I'm going to bring it down here. Now she's fading down. As you can see, it's already fading. So now we're going to break. Let's see how far we can get it. Let's try that. That looks pretty cool. So now you can definitely see she's fading in and fading out. But I didn't lose any definition. She still looks really good. Her hand looks good, but she's fading out. She's kind of inside there. This looks really kind of nice. So now we're done. I can also take her, and if I felt that she wasn't proud enough or enough, I could make her a little bigger this way and fade it a little bit more. There we go. So now she's a little bit more pronounced again, but she faded nicely and she's in and she stops right at that edge there. So I'm pretty happy with that. So if you want to take this and then you want to take that and look at the difference. So it's different. Is it better? This is good. Personally, I think that's better. It'll carve a lot faster because it's very clean. Because I did a lot of work on each one of these components to make them very, very clean. So look at the difference. If I zoom in, see how clean that is? There's no roughness. And then if you look at the other one, which is the easy carve, there's still a lot that I would have to do to smoothen. I'd have to spend a lot of time trying to smoothen some of this stuff out. And what you see is what it's going to carve. If I do the timing and carve this is going to take a lot longer to carve than this one because your bit's just going to go straight across. It's not going to go up and up and up and up, up and down, up and up and down. It's going to just go in, down, up, down. It's not going to go da 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 all over the place. So it really makes a big difference when you make your own components and when you use Aspire the way it's the way it can be used. Again, Easy Carve is fantastic if you don't have Aspire, but if you do, this is what you can do. And if you don't have Aspire and you don't want to use Easy Carve, or you've tried using Easy Carve or Carveco's AI model, and you're not liking the result of what you get, that's when you come to me and say, hey, Chris, can you make a model nice and clean? So that's what I would do. That's how I do my work. Thanks for watching, and hope to see some of your work out there. Thanks.